on Tiago Splitter being their next head coach. This is per Brett Siegel. We have the details on that, even though I have something different from my source. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. Y'all, god dang it, technology sucks. Luckily, I have two computers because I don't know what's going on with my streaming computer because it has not been acting right for the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna have to send that one out. But luckily I have three computers in here. I have my editing computer, my recording computer, and my streaming computer. So I was able to make it work. But I don't have all my little fancy dancy widgets on this one because this one isn't meant for streaming. But nonetheless, we have reports from Brett Siegel in regards to the Chicago Bulls head coaching search. This one is unexpected. I had literally just heard earlier today that the Chicago Bulls were focusing on Micah Nori to be their coach, and I actually have a theory in regards to this one, but the report for Brett Siegel says this. Chicago is attempting to lure Splitter away from the Blazers, which makes me believe he is a top option for them as a finalist. Over the last few weeks, the Bulls have been pushing the idea that they are a better long-term position for Splitter, especially since they would be committed to him long-term compared to the Blazers. Along with Splitter being one of Chicago's top options, Minnesota's Timberwolves lead assistant Micah Nori is also said to have left a strong impression on Graham and the new Bulls leadership group. Nori has interviewed for several openings over the last 2 years, and he's also involved with Splitter in Portner's head coaching search. Here's my thought process in this one, right? And I'm going to say this one in regards to it, is that to me, it looks like the Chicago Bulls are attempting. See, this is why I hate sharing this damn page with the damn guys, because why is this set up to stream everywhere? These motherfuckers be pissing me the hell off, bro. I love my team, but Lord knows why y'all in here setting it up to stream everywhere. That makes no fucking sense. This is why I have my own streaming computer. This is why I do shit by my fucking self because, well, in the sense of streaming, because some of y'all be streaming. Why is it stream? Why would you set it up to stream to two different channels? Why? That makes absolutely no fucking sense. Nonetheless, anyway, we back. The Chicago Bulls. Here's my thought process, right? I literally had heard not even 30 minutes ago that Tiago Splitter is actually the guy that the Chicago Bulls are expected to be focusing on, right? I heard that. So now with this news, it brings about the questions of, is that actually the case? Here's what I'll say on this one. If you're the Chicago Bulls and Micah Nori is actually the guy that you're focusing in to be your next head coach, here's my thought process. Would it not be smart for you to put out that you're targeting their head coach so they can make a decision on it? That's maybe my thought process. Is this may be a bit of a ploy and a leak from the Bulls to put some pressure on the Portland Trailblazers to make their decision because maybe Micah Nori's sitting on it. But here's the thing. Between Micah Nori and Tiago Splitter, I really don't care which one gets the job. I'm perfectly confident and I feel good with either one of those guys getting the job, to be 100% honest with you. I think that they both can do a lot of good work for the Chicago Bulls. I think they both bring the development. Tiago Splitter is a younger-minded head coach. He's done some things for the Bulls in that sense, and so it makes a little bit of sense in that area. But I'm looking at this and I'm just saying, all right, what's the aim here? What are we trying to do? And I think that's the ultimate question that you have to ask here is should the Bulls be extremely confident in regards to Micah Nori? Or should they be more confident in regards to Tiago Splitter? Now, here's the thing, right? They also go on to say this. We can go ahead and give up Chris Quinn. If you guys were like me in regards to Chris Quinn, here's what Brett Siegel said in regards to Chris Quinn. Chris Quinn is another candidate who was said to be a top candidate early in the process for the Bulls. He is expected to return to the Miami Heat and continue his tenure as Eric Spoelstra's lead assistant. The thing with Quinn is that he couldn't get a firm yes or no in terms of him advancing in the Bulls search, and that was about the Heat assistant is that he is probably going back to Miami. So it sounds like Chris Quinn wanted a firm yes or no, and the Chicago Bulls were non-committal in giving that. So Chris Quinn basically said, hey, yo, fuck y'all. I'm up out of here. And I can't blame Chris Quinn or anybody else if that's the mindset and thought process that they have behind it. I can't blame anybody else or Chris Quinn in regards to that. You got to do what's best for you. And you like these jobs. These jobs are so finite in the NBA that you don't want to take the risk of moving your family and stuff. And then the next thing you know, everything's gone. Like the team that you thought you were going to go to, the team that you thought you were going to have to move your family to and everything, that whole thing is gone now. That is not what you want to do. And I can't blame Chris Quinn or anybody else if that was their mindset. At the end of the day, you have a really good position with being with the Miami Heat. You're probably going to be the next in line there, no matter what eventually happens with them at some point in time in their search to get a new coach or whatever else. So I can't be mad at that. And I think that's where it comes down to in regards to this one. So we'll see. Also in the article, we are going to talk about a little bit of them trading into the top 10 in their target there. But ultimately, this is what you can take from this one. Is that it looks like right now the Chicago Bulls, Tiago Splitter or Micah Nori are their top two options. That's what you can take from it. Like I said, I heard from my source that Micah Nori's the guy. Brett Siegel saying that he feels that Tiago Splitter's the guy that they're focusing on. But regardless of all of that, the thing that you can take away from it is that it seems like this is starting to become a two-man race. And for a lot of the people with the Chicago Bulls that have been worried that Wes Unseld is going to get the job and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like right as it stands right now, it's going to be Tiago Splitter or it's going to be Micah Nori. That's what we can take forward into this. I'll go in a little bit more detail on this on tomorrow's daily episode, where I'll talk about the plus and minuses of Tiago Splitter and Micah Nori and what they could bring as options here for the Chicago Bulls, since it seems like that's what they're going to be focusing on. And we'll just see if that ends up being true. So I know Bulls fans were getting worried about Wes Unseld, and there are a lot of Bulls fans, no matter what comes up with the coach, the first thing they did was bring up Wes. Oh my God, Wes Unseld. I can't believe the Bulls are going to settle on Wes Unseld. Well, it seems like that's not going to be the case, and Bulls fans really don't have to worry about Wes Unseld being the guy there for the Chicago Bulls. And I say seems like because this still anything can happen. You never know exactly how things are going to go because we are still the Chicago Bulls, and anything is still possible as long as we are the Chicago Bulls. So that's just the reality of it that you have to look at it for. Now, in this Brett Siegel article, they pointed out and talked about the Chicago Bulls and the rumors that the Bulls did want to trade up back into the draft, saying this: the Bulls own the number 4 pick in this year's draft, allowing them to land one of the 4 coveted prospects at the top of the draft board. I'm going to go off. We already know what the top 4 is, so I'm not going to read that part. If you want to read that, go into it. But said this: despite there being chatter that the Bulls could consider their options, especially after hosting several top 10 rated prospects for workouts, the strong sense around the NBA is that Graham will be taking whichever of the top 4 prospects fall in his lap. Maybe it'll be Boozer, but the overwhelming belief is that Wilson will be the 4th pick. But that's not where the conversation's centered around Chicago and the NBA draft. Instead, rival teams and personnel continue to talk about the Bulls exploring avenues to move up from pick number 15, potentially adding another top 10 selection. Graham has made a name for himself throughout the years of identifying talent during the draft process, and Chicago's recent pre-draft workout signal the team is evaluating all of its options. If the Bulls were to trade into the top 10, multiple personnel have stated that they believe such a move would be made for Illinois guard Keaton Wagler. Although a lot of uncertainty exists with how the top 10 draft will shape out, Wagler is being mentioned as high as 5th to the Los Angeles Clippers and as low as 9th to the Dallas Mavericks, signifying that he is essentially a lock to be a top 10 pick. Wagler was recently involved in a big pre-draft workout the Bulls recently hosted, which also included Kingston Flemings, Nate Ament, Morez Johnson. Other top prospects who have visited Chicago include Mikael Brown and Darius Acuff. So, seems like right now, again, according to Brett Siegel, that if the Bulls were to move up into the top 10, we had heard that Kingston Fleming, Mikael Brown, or Keaton Wagler was going to be the focus there. But according to Siegel, it seems like the Bulls may be leaning that Keaton Wagler is their top option there. Also, trading up to the 5th pick, it does not seems like a long shot, as the Clippers aren't likely to move down 10 spots. It also seems in this one that the Sacramento Kings, they're focused on a cuff there. So take that for what you will. But it does seem like right now the Chicago Bulls are wanting a top 10 pick, and they're wanting a top 10 pick to get Keaton Wagler. Now, the way that I take that is this: adding a forward and adding a guard isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially with Caleb Wilson being likely to go to the Bulls there at number 4. He is, he still can score, absolutely, but he's not a shooter, and he's really a defensive prospect. He's really shaped up. Defense is going to be the thing that makes him special. And so you add defense in Keaton Wagler and offensive upside, and then you add offense in Keaton Wagler with defensive upside, and then you're adding defense with Caleb Wilson with offensive upside. And you hope that somewhere between those two prospects, they're going to work out to be some things that can work for you. So, this is the Bulls make sense. I think this is perfectly makes sense with where the Bulls are. I don't know if they're going to be able to trade into the top 10. Weirder things have happened, so we'll see if they can end up getting that done. But as it stands right now, man, Tiago Splitter, Keaton Wagler, that may be the thing. That may be the thing where stuff is going to be at, man. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it's going to work out for this team. I think that this team is really, hopefully they're starting to narrow some things down, and we'll see if this gets to the point where the Bulls start pulling the trigger on some of these coaching decisions, and we get our next head coach announced sooner rather than later, because I would love that. I know a lot of Bulls fans would love that. And I'm just glad that this hopefully, because I've seen over the last 24 hours, so many Bulls fans be so worried that the guy's going to be Wes Unseld Jr. Hopefully this goes a little bit of a way, just a little bit of way of calming y'all down a little bit, worried that it's going to be Wes Unseld as the next head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Like I said, it could only be a little bit. I can't blame you guys if it doesn't at all. I mean, if it doesn't completely, because again, this is the Chicago Bulls. And at the end of the day, the Chicago Bulls are going to bull, man. Until otherwise proven, anybody who's worried about the Bulls doing some crazy shit, I don't think you can blame them at all. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. I know my boy Undisputed is going to absolutely lose his shit that Keaton Wagler's mentioned as the player that the Bulls could target if they move into the top 10. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Hearing that Tiago Splitter, Micah Nori could be the two favorites for the Chicago Bulls head coaching position. Which one do you prefer? Tiago Splitter, Micah Nori? And then how do you feel about Keaton Wagler? Let me know that down below as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, we will go. Chris Quinn is no longer in consideration, my brother. But let me know how you guys feel about all of this, man. I'll go into a lot more detail on this. We'll break everything down with what Micah Nori and Tiago Splitter eventually bring in, and we'll see what's going to happen here, man. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. I'm extremely frustrated with my streaming computer right now. I'm going to hopefully get that figured out. But love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. Peace. And again, because I'm in a different computer, where's my outro? There goes the outro.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.